And just so that you can see, these are really, really, really nice little notepads. Nicely branded, visible, easy to use. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming. Here's one end of it.
Okay.
Have a smart the camera. There you go. That's the one. There you go.
Let's give him a round of applause as the photos have been taken. As the photos have been taken. Come on. Okay, does everyone have? Great. We'll have a seat, and then we can begin the program. So again, these are very, very, very nicely branded highway visual solution notepads, scribe pads. Very, very beautiful. The contact details at the back. They have just a beautiful design. I love these. I'm going to take 2 of these home if you guys don't answer your questions well. But we have many of these, and there's an opportunity to in the spirit of giving, I know we need to begin, but in the spirit, my name before myself, my full name, apart from Baptist Church Park. So I gave them my business card, so they had the whole 24 hours and go through. If you don't have, can you give anybody give it a shot, and we'll look as well. Why?
I believe it is Karagania Mwamulole.
That is the correct answer. Congratulations. A round of applause as I give him a notebook again. Right, that's it. Thank you very much. We will be giving prizes throughout. After each speech, there'll be a little session where we'll interact with you. You interact with us, and we give you something. I'll be continuously checking our social media. Any good tweets? I saw a few guys. Nice one from Samira. She might be getting something soon as well. But keep tweeting, keep talking about it, keep sharing, and we will be giving more. Again, this event would not have been possible without key and crucial partners who have assisted us in making it a reality, including IHub for giving us this beautiful venue, the Wi-Fi that you're all using now, it's a nice coffee shop, great ambience, all the facilities. Thank you very much for that. What's Good Studios, East Africa's leading digital content studio, telling Africa's story. Chris might talk a bit more about them. Great stuff, thank you for that. We have Fujifilm, makers of Fujinon lenses, which are fantastic for broadcast and film, and they're compatible with all Blackmagic products. So everything you need to really get your filming done and your video done, your videography well, is right here. Representative was here yesterday. Unfortunately, he had to leave for an emergency in South Africa. He traveled away. He was meant to be here today. But still, any of the Highway Audiovisual Solutions staff will be able to tell you more about the products that are available for Fujinon and Fujifilm. Box, makers of professional DV and V-mount batteries. They're right at the back as well. Little leakage I'll give you all now. Some of the questions will be related to headbox, so you better make sure you know your headbox stuff, because there'll be awards for that as well. We have Equity Bank who'll be providing a payment, and we'll ask one of them to come up a little later on and say a quick word about that, and you can engage with them directly. A payment plan for some of the beautiful equipment that we have here that you can purchase from this event. We have Talanta Institute, who have provided us a lot of manpower for lots of the camera work, some of the photos that have been taken, ushering, just to make sure that the event moves smoothly, so thank you very much for that. And of course, Highway Audio Solutions. Woo! Woo! In fact, a round of applause for everyone. Why are you guys so quiet today? Come on. Okay. Right, so that's what we have, and really thankful for all those partners. A lot of the program will be similar to yesterday, but different things. And to kick us off officially is we need a representative from Highway Audiovisual Solutions to come up here and let us know what it's all about. And that's Seifu Mola. Now, Seifu is a system integrator and is also the Kenya manager for Highway Audio Visual Solutions, a company that started 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. 20 years, has their headquarters in the UK, is currently in Nigeria, Uganda, and Tanzania. And I believe you're also in charge a bit of Uganda, Tanzania, a little bit? Yeah, so in fact, he's the regional manager. Look at me calling him Kenya. Yeah. East Africa manager for Highway Audiovisual Solutions, a provider for TV, corporate sports, and supplying broadcast, integrated systems, post-production equipment, over 20 years. Applause for Safe, please. Welcome again. Thank you.
Jambo. Unajua hawa jamaa wasikii lugha wale wawili hawasikii, kwa hivyo tunaweza ongea chochote, si ndio? All right, thank you so much. Yeah? Habari yako? Okay. All right. Guys, on behalf of Highway, I really appreciate this. I'm seeing guys who came yesterday. I'm not quite sure why they're here today again. It's the same thing. What happened yesterday will happen today. Come again? Revision? Okay, there is an exam today, I think, for that camera. For that camera? Yeah, you were not here yesterday, so I don't know how you will pass today. Attendance also. All right, thank you very much. I wouldn't take much of your time, because this is your time. What I wish to say is thank you very much for coming. I also have a team. You've noticed I'm working with ladies. It's women power most of the time. We don't clap. It's not for you. We have a lady outside when you come in. There's a lady who is streaming it live now. She's streaming it on Highway page, highwayav.co.ke. And as well, she's also streaming it on YouTube. Her name is Fauzia. She's the one making the whole event possible. Beside her, there is a guy who I told you have to hide because it's a women's show today. It's called Hemed. Hemed is our IT guru. He makes sure that he integrates the free Wi-Fi that we've been given. And then we also have created our own setup for internet to be able to stream the video on HD. Yeah. And again, beside, we have a shop. It's a demo shop of a company that we present in Africa, not Kenya only, but in Africa. We are the distributors for it. It's called Headbox. Headbox are manufacturers of batteries for all types of cameras, so they can power Blackmagic cameras as well. There are two ladies there. There is one called Margaret, and then there's Burma. Those two, they're experts in advising which battery goes with which camera. Yeah. And again, I can't forget our MC. He has been lovely since yesterday, Karagani. And then I have Rachel. I don't know where she is. There's Rachel, and then there's Monica. Monica, she's the one who hides on those black boxes. Yeah. She understands more of the black boxes than anyone else. And then I have Joel. Joel is the Davinci trainer, because after this we're going to offer basics, but again, upon your request on how this system works. And again, who am I forgetting? Who is that? Okay. I think that's almost everyone. There's Chris, and then there's Ua. Ua is spelled U-G-U-R. In Swahili, how do you say that? U-G-U-R? In Swahili, and pronounce all the letters. Yeah? Uguru, yes, Uguru. All right, we heard that. That's our president in Kenya, it's called Uguru. So guys, I hope you enjoy this today. It's the same program, but a little bit of a twist, spiced. Yeah.
Very much if is also part of this entire having East Africa for Highwayavs. Because before that, just a quick announcement of the and I'll keep repeating this today. As you can also support for the Blackmagic 4K cinema camera that launched. It's going to be launched in September in the world. I believe and see who about our they are a partner to open a joint account. The cost of the camera. That's the main prize we're giving. An amazing has a studio which allows you and they also have Blackmagic present to stream. It's even $1 range. Drone are available. The switching please the first for today was welcome. We are okay. I hope I didn't insult anybody. Or who if you more about the Blackmagic products that he has, and there's no looking out for in the future. Round of applause to the company.
Thank you. On you that I understand a little bit of Swahili, so be careful. Yes, I'm coming from as Turkey, country production and equipment matters a lot. We like to use cost-effective products that do the job. So I'm about 20 years in the professional broadcast market, and my first job was for a software development company developing playout software for TV stations. And this software needs capture cards, video I/O devices. At that time, which was around the early 2000s, capture cards were the length of my forearm and cost thousands of dollars each. Around 2003, we heard of this company called Blackmagic Design, who was offering the first uncompressed 10-bit video I/O at under $1,000. We couldn't believe that there could be a professional product at this price when we heard about it. But after we tested, and it worked like a magic, we positioned our products to use this card, and we never went back afterwards. Today, Blackmagic Design holds the dominant position in the world market for professional video I/O devices. A few years down the line, my company started system integration, and we started quoting and offering for TV stations and studios. Blackmagic again came into our life at this time with their mini converters. Before that, signal conversion and routing devices used to be bulky affairs costing thousands of dollars, and you could easily spend tens of thousands of dollars just on the infrastructure of a television studio. When Blackmagic Design reinvented the concept of conversion and routing with their mini converters and smart video hubs, this cost became a fraction of what it used to be previously. And today, Blackmagic Design holds the world-leading position, the dominant position on signal conversion and routing products. A few years later, we heard that Blackmagic Design purchased a company called Expo under their name at a fraction of the previous price. The price came down from up to $50,000 to $1,000, starting from $1,000. This was a big revolution at that time. And today, around 8 most popular video switcher brands in the world, selling tens of thousands per year. At that time, in my company, the joke was that now Blackmagic Design only needed to create a camera to have a complete workflow, and 2012, they did that as well. This was the Blackmagic Cinema camera, a disruptive product, offering at $3,000 features that were available at that time in cameras costing up to $100,000. After that, every year used to go into NAB and IBC with the excitement of the fresh news from Blackmagic Design. But they acquired Teranix, which is world renowned for signal conversion and standards conversion. In 2014, IHub, post-production software that was used by Hollywood production companies. In 2016, 2 acquisitions. Fairlight, which was an audio post-production company, digital audio workstation company, and Ultimate, the world's known chroma keys. So, and in 2017, I started working with Blackmagic Design as the regional sales manager for Middle East, Africa, Israel, and Turkey. Now that for everyone, not just for rich people. So we do quality without compromise at affordable prices. Quality without compromise at affordable prices. We make very small margin on our products, but we sell volume, and we democratize the professional video market. So with this short introduction, I'd like to, market has been a confusing place, having seen rapid changes over the last 5 to 10 years. There's been explosive growth in image quality, resolutions, and color fidelity. What was available just 5 years ago at $100,000 is now available for $10,000. Whereas digital camera formats were a curiosity 10 years ago, they are now the go-to platform for high-end features, broadcast production, and commercial video. Digital film is the common phrase for all professional video production. The conversion from 35mm to digital has been happening for years in Hollywood. It started in 1999 when George Lucas shot Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, for the first time with digital camera, the Sony f900. Since then, digital has replaced 35mm more and more. This was a natural evolution, as it was cheaper, easier to distribute, and easier to manage in post-production. What does this mean to you? It's to higher performing technology at lower investment. You can deliver higher quality product to all clients, not just those with the biggest budgets. But the expanded access means also greater competition. Now, only your imagination is the limit. The switch between analog to digital, the tipping point where digital overtook, you can see from the chart, happened in 2012. Which was the same time Blackmagic design entered the camera market. This was the time of the DSLR revolution, the Canon 5D Mark II, using photograph lenses with large full-frame sensors, achieving shallow depth of field. These machines filled the gap between high-end cinema cameras and video camcorders, creating a filmic look at affordable prices. But they had also limitations. They could shoot limited duration video before heating up. They worked at 8-bit and used highly compressed codecs, creating a lot of quality issues and artifacts during post-production. At this point, at $3,000, it was massively disruptive. 2.5K, 13 stops of dynamic range, and internal RAW recording. This was a response to the demand customers had for affordable filmic-looking cameras that were designed specifically for video. This also was the beginning of the Blackmagic ethos of 3 Rs: range, RAW, and resolve. Range, because it had the bigger dynamic range than all the other cameras at its price range. RAW, because it had internal RAW recording. And resolve, because it came bundled with a license of Resolve Studio, which cost around $10,000 at that time. There are so many new cameras coming into the market nowadays that it's easy to get lost among them. And really, how do you choose? The answer is that there is no such thing as a perfect camera. Only the camera that is right for you. You have to consider the return of investment, your cost of the camera, how much you can earn from your work you produce with that camera, and how long will it take you to cover that cost with your work. Is it the right tool for you? Can it adapt to the different clients or project you might come across? And is its quality good enough? Because your reputation, your camera must be adaptable to deliver to any client's brief and offer the highest quality output possible. It should be a tool that develops and supports your creativity and strengthens your reputation. It must never compromise your work. It must never compromise your work. That's a big statement to make. So to summarize, you need flexibility. You need adaptability. You need to achieve the highest output quality. You need to create a cinematic look. And you need to achieve return of investment at a reasonable time frame. To meet these demands, introducing the Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K. Our answer to all these questions and the culmination of 6 months. The Ursa Mini Pro features the Blackmagic Design 4.6K sensor. It provides 15 stops of dynamic range, which is the highest level in comparatively priced cameras. It offers up to 4.6K resolution and all the resolutions under it: HD, 2K DCI, Ultra HD, and 4K DCI capability. It supports anamorphic modes in 3K and 2K and allows high frame rate recording, 50-60 frames per second in 4K and 120 frames per second in HD. This is the first digital camera with a user-interchangeable lens mount, which is ideal for filmmakers to adapt the camera to suit their production requirements when they want to shoot with specific and different lenses. The camera comes with an EF mount, which is suitable for budget documentary, corporate video, lower ability to use the massive amount of existing EF photo lenses out in the market. The PL mount would be preferred for feature film, short film, high-end documentary and commercials. B4 would be used for fitting broadcast lenses from Fujinon or Canon to be used for live production, soap operas and drama. And F for using existing Nikon photo lenses. It was a complaint to our earlier. If we look closer at the body, the camera is cameraman friendly as possible when needed. And we have assignable function buttons for assigning your favorite functions. The camera offers versatile recording media options. There are dual slots of SD and dual slot of CFast memory card. SD card can be used for any format up to RAW and HFR at 4K. For those formats, CFast card should be used. The camera supports RAW and all flavors of ProRes in post-production. Plus, we provide optional SSD dock that comes at the back of the camera for expanding storage options through SSD. If we go to the accessories, for field work, we provide an electronic viewfinder. It's built with a 1080p color OLED display, made of precision glass optics, adjustable diopter, and built-in digital focus charts so that you can focus perfectly on your subject. It could be used with the left or right eye and provides video and power connections through the camera. 4K camera support list and has become a prominent 4K camera for commercial, music, and corporate production. The next product that I want to talk about is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. To complement the lower end of our digital film camera lineup, we announced this at NAB this year. This is the newest camera in our range. It builds on the performance and quality of the camera technology which we reached with Ursa Mini Pro. At the heart of this camera is a brand new 4/3" 4K sensor, which supports HD, 2K, Ultra HD, and 4K DCI formats. It also supports recording high frame rates up to 60 in HD. The sensor, it has a dual ISO mode. It's native at 400 and 3200. It provides an incredible low light performance with maximum ISO at 25,000. This camera utilizes a Micro Four Thirds lens mount with active control over lenses. This means you can adjust iris, zoom, and focus from the camera body with compatible lenses. Micro Four Thirds is an increasingly supported lens format for high-quality lenses designed for cine and video applications. You can use all your existing Micro Four Thirds lenses if you have this format of stills camera, or even own an original pocket cinema camera. The camera has a carbon fiber polycarbonate body and will provide a solid, robust camera body that will last, which also makes the camera weigh only 750 kilograms. The Pocket 4K has got the same CFast and SD media options as the Ursa Mini Pro. CFast for RAW and high frame rate 4K recording, and SD card for all the others. And it's got RAW internal and ProRes codecs as well. I cannot stress this enough. Today, while we hardly ever see internal RAW recording in a professional cine camera that costs under $10K, we have made this available in a camera the size of a DSLR at only $1,300, not to mention the power of ProRes. With these recording options, there is no need for external recording devices or intermediate formats anymore. On the side of the camera, there is a full-size HDMI output. It's a full-size HDMI with 10-bit HDR output. There is also a lockable power supply. A single-channel mini XLR for professional audio input, and USB-C for power and data. The USB-C can even be used in order to connect portable SSD devices to the camera and record directly onto SSDs, expanding recording times and limiting the potential cost of CFast media. As before, our ethos in this camera is the 3 R's: range, RAW, and resolve. What do we mean by that? RAW should be obvious. All our cameras, cine cameras, feature RAW recording. Range, we always focus on our cameras to have a high dynamic range. On the left, you can see MPEG video, which would be typically recorded on a DSLR. You can rather over, and the details are lost. On the screen, you see the same shot with RAW with 13 stops of dynamic range. It allows balanced, natural images that retain detail between highlights and shadows. And the 3rd R is for Resolve. A full license of Davinci Resolve Studio is included with all Cine Blackmagic cameras, including the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. Davinci Resolve is our industry-leading software used throughout post-production facilities worldwide. 8 out of 10 Hollywood features are graded and delivered using Davinci Resolve. Its reputation is built on a 33-bit floating point processing and incredible GPU-based performance, which means it can handle complex, multi-layered nodes in real time and fine-tune color grades with billions of color options. Davinci became part of the Blackmagic family of products in 2009, and even before then, pioneered digital color processing and grading technology, which have become foundations of all color grading. Our dedication to supporting post-production customers and constant development is ongoing. And now we have announced our greatest version of Davinci ever. The Davinci Resolve 15 is now in public beta. It represents a huge update to provide the most comprehensive post-production tools in a single software. And we've even added Fusion VFX directly into Resolve. So Fusion looked like this when we acquired Ion Software in 2014. It was a massively capable piece of software and used widely in feature film VFX. We worked hard to update the software in version 9 as a standalone VFX tool. And now we've added Fusion directly to Davinci Resolve. Fusion in Resolve is built in VFX and compositing into Resolve software. It's got over 250 powerful tools of 2D and 3D effects. And there is no need anymore for exporting and importing your project to external compositing software. Another great feature of Resolve, the Fairlight audio, added in version 14 12 months ago. It's a complete audio production toolset not just making Resolve audio tools better, but turning it into a digital audio workstation for post-production. Version 15 is a major update for Fairlight, including new ADR, the automatic dialogue replace tools, new sound effects database, and new fixed and visual playheads. Resolve's editing tools have been reworked and improved year on year, and with over 700 updates in the last few versions alone. There are about 100 new features and enhancements in Resolve 15. We can safely say that it's a full-fledged NLE system with support for formats up to 8K. All the usual edit tools that would be expected by a professional video editor are present, including multicam editing. And it allows project collaboration, network sharing with multiple users on the same timeline. The heart of Resolve is color. It's a node-based grading with 32-bit float processing for incredible performance. It features world-class noise reduction, real-time tracking, and camera stabilization tools. It supports raw camera processing for all leading digital camera systems and provides advanced support for emerging HDR workflows. So, who uses Davinci? The largest post-production companies in the world use Davinci Resolve, and more Hollywood feature films are graded on Resolve than any other system. 8 out of 10 Hollywood feature films are graded and finished on Davinci Resolve. TV series like Game of Thrones, Narcos, and Peaky Blinders are graded and finished on Davinci Resolve. It's trusted and respected throughout the industry. It has a massive user base, and new training community and certified courses are adding new users every day. So that's my bit for the moment. I will come back later in the day with another presentation on live AV workflows. Asante.
Thank you very much. Please, another round of applause. A greater. Come on, guys. We can go. We can go. We can go. We can go. We can take it higher. So everybody at home can hear us. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Uhur. Please don't go anywhere.
No questions.
Because we are going to ask a few questions from what he talked about. And we are going to be giving out a few awards as well, including a very, very, very nice pen. So I hope you have been listening. Those of you who already got the notepads, I hope you took notes in them. There's an opportunity for more right now. Okay. So Uhur will be here to sort of give me a thumbs up, yes, that's the answer, correct answer. And he will also give the awards that, for the little prizes and gifts for correctly answered questions, okay? I believe Monica will have that on the table in a minute. We'll start easy and pick it up from there. First question. And Uhur, I'll also ask you, we have camera evidence as well, but I'll ask you to look for the first person to raise their hand, and that is the person who will give the answer. And Monica, if I can ask you to, once they've asked the question, when the hand goes up, just give them the microphone so that we can all hear the answer. Okay? And help as well. You're part of our VAR team. You know, like we're monitoring what's going on. We have people at the back as well doing that. Okay. First question. Get your limbs loose and ready to shoot up those hands. Yeah. Great. First question. What was the first digitally shot film? I believe it was here. Yeah, there we go. Just tell us your name and then give us an answer.
My name is Chris. The Phantom Menace Towers by Lucas.
Congratulations, that is correct answer. Round of applause. Come to the front, please, and pick up your notebook. Give him a round of applause, John. Give him a round of applause. Right here, right here. Just come in front, in fact, and turn for the camera. There we go. Yeah, go ahead. Congratulations. A round of applause as he goes back, please. Great. Okay, next question. When Blackmagic cinema camera launched? And if you lift your hands before the question has been finished. All right, great stuff, great stuff. A follow-up question on that? What was special about that camera that was launched in 2012? Wow, Shimani, you're going to be leaving with an entire library. Okay. Library.
Thank you for the whole. The fact that it had a digital sensor, which allowed people now to get what is it? Trying to find the right word to put it. It had a digital sensor, so number one, that put it ahead because guys now would spend less time on post processing. And then secondly, it allowed for guys now to have, it had the 3 R's now. The raw, the range, and the result.
Allow me to just consult with Judge here.
Ignore things.
That is okay. Congratulations. Round of applause as it comes and picks that up. Come on guys, a round of applause as he picks that up. Don't be bitter because he listened and he's getting that, so there are more presentations, there'll be more awards and questions. I'll just speed this up and give us 2 more easy questions, and then I'll give you a difficult question for that nice, beautiful pen. Or can you just show them the pen before we do that? Open it up and let them have a look.
It is a lovely pen.
It is very, very nice. I don't even have one yet. Imagine that. You guys are getting this in.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to explain this pen. Will I demo this pen? I'm going to demo this pen. Okay. The wonderful thing about this pen is, A, it's nice. It's got a light at the end there. I'm not going to disconnect that because it makes it that it can get pressed. But maybe I will. Look, here you go. You've got a little light. Look at that. It's really blinding. I know. It's very, very bright, but it works very, very well. I'll put the clip back on there. That's just for... and then at the end here, you'll see there's a little soft part. That's for using on a tablet or an iPad or any phone. You can use it there. And then here, this goes around and you take the clip off, which I'm going to do now. There it goes on the back like that, and then you've got a very, very nice pen. Beautiful pen. So it's got the little part for using on your tablet. It goes like that. It's got the little light. And I've had mine for a couple of years now. The batteries are still good. So
there you go. There you go. That is up for grabs. Refer to your notes because we still have 2 more questions before we get there. Great. Another question for the notebook is, I will ask, I'm looking for 5 points here, but give me the qualities of a good camera. You can give me qualities of a good camera. Qualities of a good camera. Okay, I asked for 5. Give me 4. Okay, we have a hand going up there. I believe the microphone will reach you. And I believe the 2 pastors put up their hands, but we'll give it to Pastor K, who was first.
Adaptability, highest quality output, watch your creativity, never compromise your work.
1 more.
I like that, that's 4. There's 1 more that wasn't written on, but Uwur talked about it.
You said 4.
I said 4. But can you give us that extra 5th one?
Let me refer to the notes. Did it have to do with timing?
We are in a giving mood. We are in a giving mood. You're a man of God. We will give you a notebook anyway. So please come up to the stage. Give him a round of applause if he gets here. The last point we were looking for was return on investment. It's very important that a camera, whatever you buy, is worth whatever you're paying for it. So a round of applause as he gets this. Come on. Back to this. Make some noise for your Thank you. You got a photo? Great. Okay. Finally, we'll do a quick, difficult question for the pen. So if you can all just sit up in your seats and keep those ears open of yours. Okay, we'll do a 2 quick, easy questions then. Very, very quick. The Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, the one that's over there, when is it coming out? There. That gentleman there. That gentleman there. You can even shout out the answer. September, he says that is correct. Please come get your award. And this is a bit of a trick question. No, you pick. You're done. You won it. Don't worry about it. Don't hesitate. Great. This is a bit of a trick question. When should you pre-order it? Okay. A month before. Aha, that is the gentleman I'm looking for. That is, please come up here. He said you should pre-order it today. Pre-order it today. That is fantastic. I almost want to give you a pen for that, but no. We'll give him a difficult one for that. This question is the final question I'm asking for this session, and then we move on to the next presentation. And this is about the Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K. Okay, so it's a mini version of that, yes?
It's a bigger version.
A bigger version of that. And it was in the presentation. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different features here.
We'll be generous.
But we will be generous. Uhud is a nice guy. We will be generous. Hands already gone up. I haven't even asked the question yet. Okay. Great. What's the answer? Okay. Features. Which hand went up first? We didn't even see. Can we have a slow motion replay of that, please? Okay, fine. We'll give it to the gentleman in the glasses.
One, lens adaptability. The mounts on the camera. The viewfinder has a very dynamic digital enhancing of the imagery. The lens, about the chip on the 4K has a dual,
That's the pocket.
4.6. Yes, yes, 4.6K. You're able to have to film lower into 2K, basic go down on the same. The cards on it as well. It has a dynamic music. On the camera are very flexible. It that you can easily.
3.5.
Yeah. No, we'll give you one. We'll give it 4. That's 4. Okay. Okay.
Then let's talk about the lens adaptability.
You did?
Here.
That's not an extra. Repetitions don't count.
Sorry, no, I asked. They talk about lens adaptability.
Yes.
Okay. Then the last, the filters as well. Dynamic filters in it.
Almost there.
Do you want to make a phone call?
No.
Phone a friend.
The price of it as well.
The price wasn't mentioned.
Okay.
He has 5.
5. Wow. Okay.
What is the answer so far?
Okay. You've talked about the lenses, interchangeable lens mounts. You've mentioned the built-in ND filter, the versatile media option of SD and SF and CFast, and HD. You've talked about the dials, which we'll use as camera-friendly user interface and controls. And then you talked about...
Yes.
Yeah, you basically mentioned the range is specific, but you talked about that. So there's one more thing. One more thing. I don't know how generous we are. We said we're generous for the notebook, because man of God, but I don't know. One more thing, and then we let Chris come up. One more thing. We're looking for one more thing.
Is it on the filming part of it? The quality, the footage that you're able to capture. Roll.
Yes, there we go. Raw. Fantastic. Round of applause, and please come up here and pick up your pen. Round of applause. Round of applause is the guest here. Round of applause. Round of applause. Round of applause. Congratulations. Courtesy of Highway Audiovisual Solutions. Great job. there'll be more of that, and I know after this session, suddenly you're all going to be listening and taking notes, which is sort of the point. So thank you for your presentation. Round of applause as we will leave that, please. Round of applause. Right, very quickly moving on to the next part of our presentation. We have a gentleman who, for those of you who were here yesterday, you'll know that this is a man with years and years and years of experience. 3D animation, animator, and the visual effects maestro, I think is a correct word to use. The gentleman to my left, who is about to come on stage, goes by the name of Chris Blythe. He is the co-founder and chief creative of What's Good Studios, effects supervisor and a director for Digital Domain, which has worked on some very, very large films. I'll let him reveal that as well. He has also been creative director for Method Studios, which has also worked most recently,
budget film.
You know, and
Very low budget film.
very low, and like Digital Domain, they've worked on this one with the men, starts with X or X-Men.
Y-Man.
Y-Man.
X-Men.
I lose it sometimes myself. And then the man, I don't know if the Tin Man, Copper Man,
Iron Man. There you are. I remember that.
Iron Man.
Yeah. Again, another
That big ship.
film.
Yeah.
I think. Very small.
That big ship that sank sometime long time. I wasn't born yet. It's big, like a giant, Titanic or something like that. That Titanic? I think it's called Titanic. He was director for and creative director for studios that have worked on these films. Basically, he's coming in with experience, Hollywood experience, 17 years. So whatever he's going to tell you here is from the heart and from experience. He's also a music producer and has worked on games. I mentioned this yesterday. I love Worms. Has anybody ever the game hit? There we go. Yeah, you know, fantastic. I'm so excited that there are more Worms fans here as well. He was a artist. He did the art for that as well as the sound.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. So please give a round of applause for Chris as he walks the 3 steps towards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, guys. So, I hope my mic switched on. Everyone's hearing this. If we could go to the first page of the presentation. So this really is, again, it's the. We're going to switch on to that. Is it working? Why would you want to get on with that? Why would you want to do that? And I think one of the things that I'm wanting to really explain about today is to make people appreciate the software that has been brought in to the Davinci Resolve pipeline. Okay? People take bundled software as just simply bundled software. And I think that's a big mistake in this particular situation because of the pedigree of all of this software that's coming in. Now, during my presentation, which I'll just go through, you'll be able to understand the software that I've used in the past to make the images that you'll see in a little moment. And that will make you understand why I'm using this workflow as compared to jumping in and out of lots of other programs. So I just want to start. My name is Chris Blythe, as you can see. I'm co-founder of What's Good Studios, which we make a lot of local shows here. And but in my past, I've done visual effects supervision, 3D animation, as well for people here in Kenya that want to build their own programming, and I kind of give technical assistance, all that too. So, past, present, and future. My background was in Digital Domain, where I started as a digital artist, and rose up through the ranks, CG supervisor, then visual effects supervisor, then they're lost. No, I'm joking. But yeah, doing directing at Digital Domain was really a transition. It really opened my eyes. Instead of just doing directing, I was really being introduced to lots of other types of software and hardware that is needed to know the whole pipeline, which is my responsibility at that time. And I think in audio mixing and engineering, as well as visual stuff, I've had to deal with the whole pipeline, and I think there's less people that know about the entire pipeline that have had to use all of them so in depth. And so that's why I feel passionate by this moment. Okay? And so I'll show you a little bit about my work. I was Emmy nominated for the work that I did on the IBM Watson campaign. This was an artificial, and then also from that and from being in these bigger environments, I've been asked to consult for the likes of Sony and Red, and consult with some of those people today. And with any luck, I'll be consulting for Blackmagic, so you never know. That's right, thumbs up from our... So anyway, I'm giving this presentation, and I'm showing you the stuff, what we do here in Kenya, and then also what I've done back in Los Angeles, so that you can experience. So that, you know, I don't want to appear of somebody that just comes in and says it. I'm using this software. I've used this software. I'm not just, you know, I'm not coming in wanting to just say that this software is good. I know it from my heart that it's good. You know, I'm doing this, it's important to know that. So here you go, I'll show you a little bit of my work here. Hopefully we'll have audio coming through, hopefully, and we'll see if this plays. No audio. It's not so good with that audio. Do we have audio coming through onto this monitor here? We should do. Okay, give me a second. It's not the same without audio. Just give me a little second. Stand by. Little technical thing that I'm going to try and do here. Okay. What are you guys up to there? Some of it I've directed, some of it I've had lots of input on. That's LL Cool J there. Did a bunch of commercials for Michelin. That was a Super Bowl spot for Auto Trader, kind of like a Matrix. Medal of Honor for EA Games. Did about 27 commercials for American Express. And then we worked on Disney's 50th anniversary as well. There you go. So the software, a lot of the software, a lot of the images that you saw there, most of them were color graded with Davinci 2K, which is a little bit before. Some of those were graded with Resolve, and some of them were done, some of them composite with Fusion. I really need to update it, but you get the idea. So let me just talk very quickly a little bit about What's Good Studio so you can see the knowledge that we're bringing here. We were the first people to do live streaming in Kenya. We're way before Facebook Live or way before YouTube Live. And we were guys, even though the big burly rugby guys cannot carry a 20-foot shipping container, they would just be squashed. So we added all that in post as well. And I can show you, you can go to my site or whatsgoodstudios.com to kind of see the rest of our work there. And we also did the pioneering Sell It show with Erica Mondi when we did about 50 on that show, which was really, really good fun. Also recently, we got an award for Mum's Village. Mum's Village was one of our shows, and it just got best use of video in the social media awards. And this is the intro that I made. So this is the 3D animated intro, which is kind of like, it's for Mum's early morning dawn, and the light that comes across, you know, it's a new day. Hopefully my kid won't scream and try to kill me, you know, something like that. But anyway, and then the show. So we also designed the sets and built the sets. It's actually all virtual, but a lot of people thought it was a physical set, but it's all virtual set. And I directed the show as well. And there's so the set's all virtual.
Another edition of the Mom's Village Show. I'm Janet Bogwa. Conversations about motherhood and just the issues that affect moms and their families. And I'm hosting with Janet. I'm Isis Nyong'o, the founder of Mom's Village, and we are a growing village.
Oops, Daisy. That was a mistake there. And then this one here is with Mama Rocks. Yeah, all familiar with those lovely burgers? Anyway, so we were doing a web series with them, and it seemed to be very popular. And so I designed the intro here, which is a mixture of normal filming, nice transitions, 3D animation, 2D animation, and fun games. No, you don't get to go. Am I going to have to wait for this to finish? Please don't.
Hi,
I'm having a little technical thing right here, as you can see. 1 second. Okay, sorry, you're going to have to get through this. 1 second. Having more technical issues today than I was yesterday.
Hey there, everyone, and thank you as always for joining.
One of the things we can do though with this is I can change the lighting, because we render from the positions. So you could have a cloudy day, you could have a rainy day, or different times of the day as well. So we've done season 1, and then we were going to be going into that and changing things around for season 2. But I did plan for ahead of time.
We hear you, and we appreciate you, but it's true, like Isis is.
Okay, and then this one's the Mama Rocks one.
Hi, I'm Natalie. And I'm Samantha. And we're in Mama of Africa, and fuse them with our specialty gourmet burgers. Follow us on our journey as we set up our new restaurant.
Even that last little bit there, I wanted to make it look like, you know, one of those draftsmen, those drafting kind of pictures. But we had to build that. They didn't have any, so I had to render it in 3D and then make it look like it was a draftsman's kind of drawing, and then render it on top. Did anyone notice anything missing in the burger? No? Damn it! Every time I play it, Tilo reminds me there's no tomato. There should have been, but sadly I ran out of time. It was 3 o'clock in the morning when I did that, and there was no tomatoes to take a picture of. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. And there's no internet. So, okay. So, okay, that's enough about us. We're now going to delve into just the history of what we're doing here. So if you look at the modules, right now, in the modules that we've got ingestion, which is, it's their own software, but it's very, very well done. You've got some really good things, like you can do some great metadata additions. It's great from pulling in from different cameras. We've got editing, which is interesting, but it doesn't have its own name, which I think is an intentional thing that they did, so that other people didn't notice what they were doing. And then we've got Fusion for visual effects. We've got Resolve for color grading, and Fairlight for audio. Then our outputs, and the output module is still very good. So, all of this is really to kind of show you why you should be wanting to jump in on this, okay? And about the bundled software, this again, we shouldn't really think of this about bundled software. This is something that's very strategic, although not many people saw the plan or the timeline that Blackmagic, not even me, no, I didn't see it until it was about to happen. But let's go back to the very beginning, before all of this, okay? Who is Blackmagic Design? So, a little bit before this, everyone used to know Blackmagic for making these lovely little boxes. It's very handy and very well priced, and people still use them, boxes for converting video. People thought, oh, that's a nice little company making those cute little boxes. Great. Everyone was happy with where your game. Everyone was separate, and they're over there. So when you go to NAB or IBC, they're over in their own thing, doing very well, but not interfering with the other people, right? And this is where the story changed. So if we go back to key moments of history, back in 2000, and I mentioned it before, when the Phantom Menace came out, that was using the F900 cameras, and that was a digital acquisition, and that really changed things because we knew that all of everything else was having to be done in post. Now, that was a purely digital workflow, but 90%, 99% of the films back there were done. And even when you were going through telecine, it was a partially photochemical process of getting all that in and then changing. And then in certain times, you would you'd color correct it, and then you'd transfer it back to film, and then hand it to the next company that might visual effects, and then they would take that, and then they would scan it and bring it into their system, and then put it back to film. Now, it wasn't always as easy as that, but people realizing it was very expensive and heavy workflow, but it did maintain a very high quality. So, along came these guys, and again, this is back at the same time when they were doing the first kind of parts of the history of or the very beginnings, I should say, of
digital cinematography, there was this film called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It's a George Clooney film, and I worked on this film. It was the first film to take the film, scan it, and then use a digital workflow from visual effects house, color correction house, everything, even music, everything all the way through. It stayed in a digital domain until the very end, where it was actually put back on film, and then they screened it. And what this allowed, and this film was known for the first time that they really cranked on the color and made this really lovely kind of historic kind of. But most people assumed, because it was a George Clooney period piece way back set hundreds of years ago, there was no visual effects. But there was plenty of visual effects. Now, coming up here, I'll show you a little bit. We actually had the Humane Society come in and stop. You guys, you can't do this. And you'll see why. I'll show you. Here we go. Ouch! Ooh, lots of burgers for everyone. Okay? Now, if you but no cows were harmed at all. That was a fully CG digital cow. Okay, I'll let you see that again. Ouch! Okay, but it's fairly violent. But anyway, and then later on, there's this part here, which is the sequence that I worked on as well. It's a mixture of practical effects, miniatures, visual CG effects, and 2D compositing. And it all comes together very well. Again, everything was in the digital domain at this point. Okay, at this point here, everyone's underwater. The only thing that's actually was filmed underwater here, which you'll see in a little second, is George Clooney. He'll appear right about now, swimming in the murk. But everything else is all fully digital. Even the banjo that's coming up, there's lots of talks about that. These cans of everything was done digitally. And so keeping the quality of the visual effects going whilst coming from a film base and then going back to film at the very end, it had a really cohesive look. And that was really the point that people realized. Staying in the digital domain all the way through was also a lot cheaper. Okay? This end can that's coming up is my favourite one. Animated by some Scottish guy who's standing right here. Here it comes. Oh, look at that, the hero one. We had many different versions of how this can move before. There you go. And even this part here, this is all visual effects too, because that didn't happen in the background. He was in a water tank, you know? So that kind of shows back then that was color corrected in Davinci. That was Davinci 2K. Now, Davinci 2K, the main box for Davinci 2K is, anyone have a guess? Anyone here yet of how much the color correction system costs? Oh no, that's the cheap one. Davinci 2K. You're $500 short. So the Davinci 2K system was the film-based version of this, and it was $800,000 for the box. If you want the control surface, that would set you back another $100,000, like 80 grand or something like that. And then the more as you add, you pay more as well. So that's why these systems that were in place, you want to keep them running 24 hours a day. And so when digital came along, one thing you didn't have to worry about was like loading the film, bringing all the film in. Everything's just, you know, with Resolve it's a lot faster, but we'll get into that. I want to go through all the software that we used back then and where its basis was. So if you look at this one, Ion Fusion. Ion was a company that had been around for a long time. And when I was at Digital Domain, you know, we did things like Titanic, Transformers, Pirates of the Caribbean. We had an in-house composite software called Nuke. And it's now available, you can buy it. In fact, if you saw my demo reel, you saw the engines running around. Okay, if you look in the manual for Nuke, you'll see those engines. Those are my images, okay? But now they're selling it for $6,000. Now, I know everyone wants to spend $6,000 on software, don't you? Everyone? You want to spend $6,000? No. But back in the time, Ion came out with a very similar thing to Nuke. And it's a node-based system. It's kind of like plumbing, where you connect one thing to another thing. You have the video coming in, and then you add a blur module, and then you add a mask, and then you add it back into the original, and then you can blur things out. It's very simple to look at, and I think node-based compositists, because artists are visual, okay? You know, in like Premiere or Final Cut, you've got effects that are kind of added on a block. You can't see how they're connected. In fact, you can only connect them and do things in a certain way. I can't do it in Final Cut. I can't do this in Premiere. I'm going to have to go out and go into After Effects. And all of a sudden, loading up another program. Now you have to make a save file for their thing, and save it on the desktop. Everyone's got messy files in. So let's go back to this. So Fusion. Fusion came along with this node-based compositing system, and it was only $1,000. That's still expensive if you ask me, but for what you're getting compared to $6,000, it was really, really ahead of its time. So when I moved from digital domain using Nuke and went to Method, they were all using Fusion there, and so I did 30, 50, I can't remember how many commercials I did in Fusion then, but it was the core of the compositing system. Now, one of the sister companies called Audio West was a massive audio house, and they have studios all over the place. In fact, the first Star Wars was mixed, the audio was mixed in this room, okay? That's at Audio West. And in fact, does anyone know what R2-T2 and C3PO stand for? Anyone? I can give you $1 million if you do that. Okay, back then, when they were synchronizing the films to the audio, you had the reels of film. And the storage area was set with 2 numbers and 2 letters. Storage area C, subsection 3, rack P, section O. C3PO. And the other film, and so that's when George Lucas was editing one of his previous films, before Star Wars, he did it there. And that's where they stored it, and he did that. And if you visited this place, they have a little spotlight on the end of the story. They take you through stories to say, and there it is, and R2-T2 is like written on the end of the rack there. So that's where this name came from. And so these guys there had 4, in this room here, it was being controlled by 4 Fairlight MFX systems. Now they were 24-track audio systems that were hardware-based, okay? And when I say hardware-based, it's a box that's, you know, a big box that's there. And the great thing about that is you had a controller that you could touch, and that's the thing that you're seeing in the top left hand. And this is where the first part that really kind of opened my eyes to the way that these top-end professionals work. They work in a different way. They're not using a mouse, because, as I've said before, I said this yesterday, imagine if you've had your keyboard break on you. Who owns a computer? I think everyone owns a computer. Who's had a keyboard break or a button break, and you have to bring up that virtual keyboard and type with one finger, right? How much of a pain in the neck is that? So, but you're okay somehow when you're using software and you're adjusting values and editing to do one thing at a time. Your whole career is on this. Imagine if this was a stiletto shoe and you're just on one finger. The whole pressure. Somebody cuts off your finger, you're done. But you've got these other ones around you that are just sitting, holding your head up, anything. So this is when I started to see that workflow and these engineers, and I'll show you why. But if I go back to the picture at the top right-hand corner, is anyone a musician here? Anyone do sequencing or audio? Sure. Anyway, all the music programs, like if you go to Pro Tools or Fruity Loops or Fruity Studio or Logic, all of them have things that go down the left-hand side and tracks that go along. And this computer was this Fairlight CMI, and this first came out in 1979. And the subsequent version that this one is, if you wanted to buy one, you could buy one of those, or you could buy 2 or 3 houses in the UK. That's how expensive they were. And so it was really the top-end people that were using these tools. But the reason why these people were using these tools is because of what they did. And everything that's on this machine is now still being used to a certain degree. That way of working is being used. And that's why it's important that these are historical things that you might not know where the history comes from. The timeline that you get in a sequencing program is from Fairlight. And Fairlight is now part of Blackmagic. It's a massive accomplishment for them to be by. And so Fairlight was always a very high end. If you go now to, what's WWF, the wrestling thing? They've got like stuff going on all over the place. All of their stuff, it's all Fairlight. If you go to the top Pro Tools, not for commercials and features, a lot of them are using Fairlight. They might use Pro Tools for their for their inputs in some things, because they've got really good I/O, but they're using Fairlight to control it. Okay? And this one here, this is like a cinema. It's food and everything, and it's super, super expensive. To be there is, on a daily basis, I think it's $20,000 a guess, depending on who you know. So if you look at the actual machines, and this is what I noticed when I was there. It didn't have a mouse. You see that you've basically got your hands on here. You see there's a selection of things around here. And this was way back in the 90s, 2000s, this one came out. But you notice this, keep your eye on this, keep your eye on the stuff that's up here, and this, you'll see it later on. I mean, if you see here, this is one of the newer desks, this is the Fairlight Evo desk. You see that this one hand is here and the other hand is always doing something. They designed the software so that both hands would work. They wouldn't do it that you'd press one button and do another one. They'd make it that you'd be with both hands. And it's carefully thought out. And it's thought out over, before you sell something for $70,000, you really figure it out if this is going to actually work. And the reason why people want to buy it and don't buy the cheaper systems is with a little screen. Each one of these is actually higher resolution than PAL. Each one of those screens is an OLED screen, and they all light up, and depending on what you're doing, they change their image on them. They do different things depending on the mode that you're in. Okay? Now this panel used to be about $15,000, $20,000, which is funny. Now Blackmagic are selling it for $2,000. It used to be, it's unbelievable the price that they're bringing in at, but we'll get to that later on. But that whole point at that moment made me realize the mouse is a good way to do it, because if it gets access to the software, that's great. But what Blackmagic have done is that they've managed to make it that it works with a mouse, it gets you in the door, and then you can slowly add other pieces of the picture on an as-need basis. You don't need to buy everything. If you find that you do a little bit of editing and a little bit of the color grading, but you find, or you do a little bit of visual effects, but you really spend all your time in color grading, then for $700, you can buy the micro version of this. This one is about $2,000, this is a mini. Well, that's expected, it's not completely out yet. And you find the good thing is that even in the mini, it's the same quality of track balls, it's the same quality of physical design. It's great, really, really robust design, priced, which is shattering all the rules. And other PJL Cooper and all these other guys, when this is coming out, I saw them, I was at NAB recently, and they're standing at the Davinci, at the Blackmagic desk like this. Adaptability, and they're just the foresight to do things in the right way. So when you buy this, it's very, very well-built gear. And I've seen other control surfaces that were being sold for $2,000 back in the day when they were even more expensive, and they just weren't that well made. They were kind of hollow sounding, and they didn't feel good to use. All of these are they feel great to use. So, but seeing that whole, all of that being done with two hands totally made me realize, if you're using one knob at a time, that's one finger at a time, that's one mouse. You don't have 10 mice on the screen. But using the system that is designed to use a mouse or all of your fingers at once is on a different level. Now let's look at Resolve, okay? This is where it gets interesting. Back in the day, when Resolve came out, it was actually a little brother to Davinci 2K, which was very expensive. So it was seen as cheap. At what price? Something you did price. $500,000. This $500,000 US for this machine here. And how it worked was each of these cards would go inside and it would give you different options. And so when you're adding these things called power windows, which are like, you can just give them a definition of I want it to be brighter or darker, or you can do different effects on that. Each card, you only got 2 with the Resolve. So you can go to a studio and have someone and say, we've got 4 power windows. 4. You wouldn't even think about it nowadays, but back then, 4. Why is that expensive? Because each one of these cards, one power window, was $50,000. 50. What's that? I don't know. It's 50 million. 5 million. No. Yeah. $50,000, 5 million. Okay. So anyway, this is actually not it. It looks something made by AGA, but it was exactly the same format. These edge cards, these power cards. So, so back in the day, I was doing a commercial, and it was called Area 51. It's for Black Site. And there's a lot of expensive, and you can see this on my site if you go to it. There's a lot of expensive practical effects. We actually shot a lot of this for real. There was a crashed bus. We had to get a speedboat and smash it. It was terrible. We had to get all this stuff. We had this house that looked like it was on fire with big oil fires going back. And so a lot of practical effects. We wanted to do a lot of it in camera because we wanted to spend the money on the visual effects and everything else. So I was approached and they said, why don't you shoot it in HD instead of film? Because that really brings the cost down. And at that moment then, and the head color corrector for Company 3, and also he worked with Davinci, he was one of their demonstrators, called Siggy Firstall. He came to me and said, why don't you use this thing called Resolve? I'm like, what's that? And he said, it's this new thing, it's cheap. I'm like, how cheap is it? He goes, $500,000. I said, that's a bargain. So anyway, we used it, but it was basically a cut down version. It was seen as the little brother, and they literally removed parts of the software so that it didn't upset the apple cart of the expensive thing. And so we did this, and at that point then, we realized that with the Davinci 2K, you couldn't send it files, right? You had to scan it in. But with the Resolve, you could be working and then send it files, which nowadays is normal, right? But back then, it was like, you can send it files? It's fantastic. So, anyway, yeah, it was seen as the cheaper thing. So that's all the things. Let's put things was put together. And then it was using Fairlight for audio, and then it was using Resolve. Now this is in one building. This isn't in one room or one computer. This is still in one building. But we found a workflow that we were like, we can move fast. Now, the reason why I got a bit of a handy thing is that I went to my boss and I saw the way that they were working at Audio West, and I said, all of our other sister companies use Fairlights, but when we take them files, we have to reassemble. How about it would be easier if I could just have it in my office and we could assemble everything and then send it over the network? And he's like, oh, that's a good. So anyway, that was when we didn't realize we were building a workflow until we got it all together. We realized, man, we can just get the footage here, send it to Fusion, boom, it comes back, doing all the audio, laying down the tracks, getting all the sound effects, everything sorted out, get the music sorted, good, boom. Then we go to Resolve, get it all color corrected, and we're all staying on the same network and all doing it in one building. We were fast. It was expensive, but it was fast and it was seen as economical, because the faster you can turn something over, the better. What's the pain in the neck? You know, if you're working on a timeline, you're working in, say, Premiere, and you need to do an effect. You're 5 minutes going, can I do it inside here and add some plugins and do it in here? Yeah, I can. And then there's one bit at the end when you go, crap, I'm gonna have to go to After Effects for this. Or if you're inside Final Cut Pro, you're like, I'm gonna have to go to Motion for this, or I have to get the footage somewhere and go into something else, because I can't send it because Final Cut doesn't allow you to send things anymore, and so we had a system that really, really worked. And we didn't realize that we're doing that, you know? We didn't realize. So that's when it all came together. Fusion for visual effects. We've got all that stuff. We got it all together in one building, and that was 2006. Which, were any of you born then? No? Right? And then, back then, this is what Blackmagic were, but we didn't realize that things were all about to change. Okay? And we didn't realize that they had a plan. And no one did. No one saw it coming. Okay? So, 2009, Blackmagic buys Davinci. They bought other companies. They bought Terranex. They bought other things. But I'm talking about my workflow and what was in my line of work. They buy Davinci. People were wondering, you know? I said it's like a banana buying a fridge. It's like, well, that's inside out. You put the banana in the fridge. Why would a banana want to buy a fridge? Okay, and then 2012 they released a cinema camera, which shocked everyone. And they were like, okay, they are definitely up to something. We can't put all the pieces. Oh, maybe they're going to give the Resolve and put it, and they sell it with the camera. That's exactly what they did. No one saw it coming, the next parts. Now, the great thing, no, we'll go forward. 2015 they buy Fusion, and they start offering Fusion as a side product. And you go, okay, that's complimentary, and they're making a bit of money, and you still have to buy it. So they still have to buy it. Then they lower the price, but at that point people are going, there's something is brewing, but they don't know what it is yet. Okay? And then 2017, Blackmagic buys Fairlight, and at that point then, they were still releasing new software, and you started to see this kind of workflow coming together, and that's the final piece of the puzzle. If you, I said yesterday, it was like when you're playing chess against someone that's really good, and you're like, oh, I think I'm fine, and he's just moving some pieces around, then you don't realize everything's being positioned, and then they do the last move, and you're like, oh, checkmate. The and then you realize you're totally screwed and you didn't see it coming. And then it became obvious at that point. Okay, so for me, it really exposed the path of when they did that last. They really narrowed the gaps and put in all the pieces together into something that was, I saw was like, oh, this is going to be crazy good. This is bananas. And even for me, I was using Fusion and I've been using Resolve. Even when they bought them or started selling them, I didn't see it. And I was using it. I didn't see it until they got Fairlight, and I was like, oh, they've got it end to end. They've got something that I don't need to ever leave this piece of software. I don't need to ever wait for motion to load and take 5 minutes to load and watch it while someone's sitting beside me going, will it be done soon? You know, it's like it's still loading. Wow, I'll go for lunch, right? So then we realized that with their hardware and their software, you've got something very, very cohesive. The software on its own is incredible, and I think what they're doing is very smart. That they're giving this highly regarded pieces of software and putting it into one system and going, here. For how much? Free. Free. It's free, but it doesn't mean it's valueless or worthless. And that's why I was talking about all these parts, is that you realize that all of this has been over 20 years of millions of dollars of investments and people working hard to make the absolute best top-end products, not low-end products, top-end products. And now they've got them all into one system, they've re-engineered them so they all talk to each other, and it works for free. One of the things I said yesterday again is that there's going to be a threshold moment that people understand this, that people are going to realize, and Adobe, Avid, and Apple are all going to be in trouble. So, okay, I said this yesterday too, it's the same kind of thing. When you go to the corner and you get like you buy a bunch of DVDs, or it's a DVD with 50 movies on it. About those movies, you're like, all right, I'll watch that, give or take, if I can be bothered. But if you get given 4, or you have 4 actual movies that are proper movies, they feel different. It's like, here, this is a real thing. And that's why I think I don't want people to think bundled software. This is an amazing experience. Okay, so why change? Why bother to change? Well, oops, you don't need to. Right now, one of the strengths of Resolve is it's been designed from the ground up to accept XMLs from every other nonlinear editor. Okay? So if you're working in Final Cut Pro, it is really good at taking Final Cut Pro stuff, and you export an XML, bring it in, boom. And the good thing is, you can kind of dip your toe in and you see your timeline. In the past, the timeline was locked. You couldn't do anything. You just saw a sequence of color corrected. Now, it's an editorial timeline. So you know what I'm doing. The great thing is you can go from a visual representation of your thing in Premiere, bring it in as an XML, boom, it's laid out exactly the same. And you can see down. But let's go through the actual parts. Okay. I just want to go back on one thing. So there's a company called FX Factory. They make absolutely fantastic plugins, okay? And they make them for Premiere, they make them for FX, After Effects, and they make them for Final Cut 10 in Motion. Now they've added a new thing, a little tab, called Resolve. And everything that they're now making, they're encouraging all the people that are making plugins. You go to the top right-hand corner of their software, you'll see it's on, for me it's on Final Cut. What that means is, if you've got certain effects inside Premiere or Final Cut, and you're going into Davinci, that's a big pain in the neck. You've got certain plugins that only work within these hosts. That's going to go away. And then that whole puzzle of working inside Final Cut Premiere and then going to Davinci, well, I think will slowly go away. And people will just start simply using it in there, like that. So let's just go over a little bit of each module and why things are interesting inside these modules. One of the things, well, it's very good. You can easily import the media. You can easily add metadata. You can have it in you can do it on a clip-by-clip basis, which I'll show you later on. Or you can do it as you're taking in all the data from a full-day shoot. You can name things in tabs, by scene, by take, everything. It's laid out as a grid, kind of like an Excel spreadsheet, and it's really super easy. Organizing any of the parts, you can have an assistant editor going in marking parts and calling them out, like good take and all those kind of things, while you're still editing. So you can be editing on one thing, and the assistant editor can be taking today's stuff and adding it in there for you. Okay? Now, one of the things that I love about Premiere is, and even Media Composer is you can put things in a folder and it's there in the folder. You move it into the folder and it's there. One of the things I don't like about Final Cut's folder system is that because it's all metadata based, you can put something in there and then you come back the next day from filming and you start putting things in a different folder and then realize they're appearing in the other folder as well and you're like, now I have to start reorganizing all this crap. So the bins work just like a real bin. You put it in that folder and it stays there. And when you go there, it's there. But they've also added, so that's like Avid and Premiere, and people are used to, but they've also added smart bins like Final Cut as well, which are super, super smart, and they work exactly the same way that they work in Final Cut. They're no different. They're literally, it looks like the same menu. It's ridiculous. I don't know how to get away with it for so long. Okay? And then also, you can sync audio from multiple cameras and bring in separate audio. You can put it all together as a multi-camera. It works fantastic. So the import media part can be done, if you're still working on the project, can be done separately. All right? Now, so you can see that there. There's the import part. Okay? And then you grab your bins, and you can see there at the right-hand corner, you've got all the parts that you can add. It works well. Okay, so editorial, old and new. Now, okay, a little quiz here. Anyone use Final Cut? No? Final Cut? Okay, if you kind of want to use this. Okay, compound clips are a really powerful thing in Final Cut, okay? Okay, now, in Final Cut, they're called compound clips. In Davinci, take time, okay? They're called these weird things called compound clips. Familiar. Now, they also have multicams in Final Cut and Premiere. Now, here's it's going to be a tough one, guys. Are you ready? Yeah, it's this weird name called multicam. Huh. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. It's familiar. The compound clips work exactly the same way as they do in Final Cut. The multicams are actually very similar to the Final Cut multicams, pretty much the same as the ones that they are anywhere else. They're just, it's the same tools, the same nomenclature, the same way of working. You can even load in Premiere or Avid or Final Cut keys, and you're off working. All your keyboard shortcuts work the same, most of them. The basic ones work to get you going, you can add more. So very easy to jump into doing that. Now, stacked edits, for easily comparing edits. Nope. You look at the stacked edits, which I might touch on later on if I can load in something that will define it. You can basically visually compare your edits by stacking them up, so you can load them all vertically, and they're all miniaturized, so you can go around and see the visual differences. And it's great if you're working between a 30-second version and a 15-second version, boom, 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 boom. You don't have to scroll along and all that kind of stuff. You can see it visually, and you can see, there's the 60-second version, there's the 30, there's the 15. And it's so easy to see what you've all together, and you know, you've got confidence knowing, oh yeah, this is good. This is good. And, yeah, all right. So if we look here, and I have to look carefully, I've got both the next slide, and I have to be careful, because that's Final Cut. And that's Resolve. Final Cut, Resolve, Final Cut, Resolve. Is it really that different? It's not. It really isn't. If you look at the top left, it's the same in Premiere. Everything's at the left. Then you've got your work area, and then they've got a right-hand side, which is where your inspector is. Yeah? Same kind of stuff. Not with After Effects, it's very different, right? Okay, now you've got the views that change the way that you can switch stuff on and off. In Final Cut, it's right here. You can switch the things on and off here. It's exactly the same here. It's exactly the same. So it's familiar ground for a lot of people. Same vector, it's on the right-hand side. And they've got the same thing, but I didn't actually have it pressed there. There's the toggle height thing. This one had the toggle height thing already switched on. It's the same, it's called toggle inspector height. It's the same name. It's so simple. And then you've got the main work area, which is very, very similar as well. The only difference is, and that's one of the things what I love and hate, equal amounts, is the magnetic timeline in Final Cut. Sometimes it's fantastic, other times it's a pain in the neck. When I've been working in Resolve, I found that I sometimes miss it, but most of the times I'm like, I'll just keep on going. It doesn't really look inside Fusion. Here's a really good example. The great thing is, so you start off work here, that's your ingest. This is your editorial, and any clip that you have that you're selected on your timeline, you then just click over to Fusion right here. And then it starts with is, right? So it's just a line, in and out, with nothing if it was. You can see I'm clicked here. What this means here is, this white dot, you click on it, it puts it in this viewer. But if you want to look further down your process, you want to put that one here, you might want to put the earlier one here so you can compare. You press that dot there, and it puts it on there. It's really super smart, and it's way better than Nuke. Nuke's is a pain in the neck because they messed it up. Now, this is much more visual. You can look and see what you're doing, which I find is a way better way of doing it. Okay, let's just go through them. Bam. So I keyed the sky, and all I did was use up here to key the sky, so I get most of the sky. I just want to roughly get it. This is just a demonstration. And then the next thing down there was saturation. So I took that, boom. So see the difference? It goes from, see the difference in saturation there? Yeah? Was it just, it's a merge. I add this on top of this. This is coming here, I add them both back together, and the output goes back to timeline. And so that's it. And then you add it back on there, and you can see that the little white dot is like on this now, so you can see what you're looking at. And it's too saturated. I was doing it for the effect. This isn't my normal quality of work. But and then this is going back to the timeline. When you click back in the timeline, you see this back there. It's as simple as that. You can do it to, what you can also do is, one of the things that really gets me about Final Cut and Premiere, although Premiere has fixed it to a certain degree, Final Cut has not. You get so far when you're doing it in Final Cut, let's say, and you're adding bits and you're saying, I'm just going to stay in the timeline, I don't want to move out, I've got stuff to do, I've got to get this damn edit finished and get on with my day. You're halfway through, you add a bunch of effects on top, and then you're like, crap, I'm going to have to go to motion for this, I'm going to have to take this out to After Effects. Then you have to remember what you did. There are some plugins that you can buy. There's a plugin called Send to Motion, which sends everything you've got to motion, so you can start working from there. Yeah, but that's $200. $200. The software costs $300. And let's put it this way: the software costs $300, but hands up who's actually bought After Effects. Hands up who's bought Premiere. Hands up who's. Here's the thing: I get it. Those programs are expensive. A lot of them they want monthly payments and yearly payments. Right? That seems to echo back to the $500,000 thing. And this is why Davinci is going in a totally different way. What they're doing basically is making better artists be employable by giving you a set of software that you can say, I work on Davinci, and you go, oh, so do we. Boom, you can come work. You go to another place, they might be working in Final Cut or Premiere and you don't know. Now, do you want to keep abreast of all of these different software packages and basically diminish, like you can be this good in Davinci with all of the programs, are you going to be this good at each of them? You want to learn the system, and if you can be downloading the software, and then you get to a place that you've learned it with using the mouse techniques, and then you manage to go to a place that allows you to work on hardware, you're halfway there because you know what you're doing. So the benefit of software is starting free, and then later on, if you go to a company that uses it, they might just use the software and just using the mouse. Fine, but you're in the door. And if that gets better, it makes a better workforce for visual effects. End to end. Everyone benefits. And that's why I'm very passionate about talking about this, because it's going to really affect you guys. It's affected me a lot as well. But I was doing it before it was bought. I was enjoying it in 2006 going, this is cool. I hope nobody else figures this stuff out. I hope I can be the only one doing this so I can reign supreme. But now they're giving it away for free, and I think it's kind of duty to show people this kind of stuff. So this makes it very, very easy, and it goes back to timeline. All right, so moving on, same thing. Some of the same tools, you'll see this node-based thing, it's the same thing inside Resolve, right? You have got more different types of tools, but what they've done is they've carried on that system. Fusion and Resolve were very similar in their node-based system, but now they've made it basically negligibly the same. Is that you've got this in and this out, and you add plumbing in between. But of course, there are some things inside Davinci that you don't want to be the same as Fusion, because they're separate tools. And that's why this harks to this here, and it works hand in hand with the hardware very, very well. So you can see that you've got a key there. And all I did in this one was I took her, and I see the red there, I just separated the red and added it back on top with this, and then it goes back. Again, that's just a very simple, simple example so you can get the idea. So you see that's just zooming in now, okay? So then, again, as I've said, what that allows you to do, you get to use these tools. If you learn the software, you can then go from this one, which is $500, $600, $700, I think, and it's exactly the same feeling as the top end one. They feel really nice to work, and the faster you can work. And this is key. But if you know where you're going, I know I'm going to go to my blur, I know I'm going to go to my keyer, and I know that they're right there. It's just faster, okay? And then this one here, it used to be cheap at $30,000, cheap, right? But now this is, I think, about $12,000, $14,000, so they've brought the price of that right down too. It's incredible. Okay, and let's just very quickly go to Fairlight. If you look at this, they've got all the same key areas. They make the timeline, it's exactly the same, but now they've added things like, you know, if you wanted to do your EQ, you could get a rough, small mixer, but you can see all your other tracks in comparison. So you can see straight away if someone's looking through different ways of looking at it. This is a very, very nice way. That looks exactly the same way as the very old Fairlight that I showed you at the very beginning. And then also what you have there, which is very, very handy. So you've got your, you'll see you've got your the main timeline there. And then you've got your main EQ there, which is great. You've got dynamics on every single track. And then you've also got, this is your, if anyone's working in TV, this is your loudness level, and it gives you a real approximation of what it's going to sound like. One of the things that it's a 99%, is something I always teach is, you can't mix with headphones on. Okay? You can't. You can't mix music and dialogue. Because usually, you'll have the music is in stereo, and the speaking is in mono. And if you place that mono track, what usually happens is, you're listening to it with your headphones on and go, this sounds great. I'm going to get home early. I'm going to knock off and go and have a tussle. Right? But then you take it to your boss, and he's got speakers, and you go, hey boss, let's play this. And you play it, and he goes, this sounds crap, I can't hear it. You can't actually define and hear what it sounds like. It's when you hear it on speakers, it's totally different. That's the number two thing is loudness, is that people sometimes have the hand up, and then you have, the levels are very, very low. People don't look at metering. But then the next thing is the way that loudness sounds in most people's homes. And that loudness factor is why this is super, super important. You can see what it sounds like in the control room compared to the actual loudness. And these used to be modules that you would buy inside a studio that you would literally have to look at, and they cost thousands of dollars because they're properly calibrated. And this is being given away straight inside Fairlight. Fairlight had it inside their systems, and you're getting the benefit of all that science and know-how in a little handy little box up here. And you can see that it's 6 dB over. Alrighty, let's move on fast. So, and then again, it's the same thing. You can, this type of system, when you put it together, it used to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, each of these is about $2,000. That sounds like a lot, but compared, this used to be $15,000, $20,000. Now it's $2,000. Now, it's still at the reach of a lot of people, but when you're going to work for a company, you already know the software. These things are all $2,000 a piece, and you can build it, even this table's modular, and you can make it very, very wide, and you add more. So you might start with those two, boom, boom, and then you add these two, and you go on as you're going along. For broadcasters, you're not having to buy a huge desk at one go. You can build out slowly. So it's much more viable as a long-term solution. All right, moving on. Oops. So output's got the same things. It's very, very handy. The way that it works is you've got all your outputs there. You can output stuff and pile them all up as a series of jobs. Now, very soon what they're going to be, although it might not be perfect, you can export a bunch of jobs and then send it to a cluster of other computers to deal with it. Who loves rendering? Who loves watching the computer for half an hour? You do. You love rendering? No one loves rendering, do they? Right? Who doesn't want to watch the computer for half an hour? You don't want to do that. Exactly. So what this enables you to do is to distribute that job amongst computers. You have it between 5 computers that aren't being used because you're the last one there on a Friday night, not going out. Yes. Right? And then all these other computers, so you're rendering and it's still taking the same time. Wouldn't it be better that you can sit there and it be divided by 5 because those 5 computers can take on a fifth of the job each? Yes. Again, it allows you to work faster. And that's what that thing allows you to do. You can also upload directly to Vimeo and YouTube from the system. You don't have to render it as a QuickTime, and then YouTube, and I'm bored. Right? You can just do it all from one go. And then what else is very, very handy is that you can look at your clips very quickly and see them. This is very similar to what it is in Davinci as well. You can see color correction, that one's on Fusion, this one's on Fusion. You can see and go, oh yeah, that's right, those things are all right. I know that those are the things I'm wanting to get output. Boom, okay. Oh yes, one other thing as well is, and there's two camps of thought about this, files. Who deals with, now there's two ways of thoughts on this. Sometimes you want to export it with it burned in, because a lot of people, if they're viewing it, they don't know to press the CC button on the remote, or they don't know, so it's just burned in. It's sometimes much easier that way. But if you're dealing with a French version, and a German version, and a thing, you don't want 5 edits. You don't want to be dealing with that. You want to get these things, these SRT files, you can send them out and get them all, done by various people, get the German guy to do it like that, and they all get an SRT file, you combine them all together, and it makes one file, and you can embed the SRT file right into the video, and it's switched off, but to YouTube or Facebook, that CC button will light up, and you press it, and all the languages will be there. You don't need to export, and they've just added that to Final Cut, but it's in this, and it's already working. So there's lots of things in there that are very, very handy. Okay, I think I repeated a little bit. Right, so that takes you through the breadth and depth of everything. And I hope that makes you understand a little bit more about what we do and what I've done in the past, and to make this whole workflow, which again I'm passionate about. I'm going to be here, anyone wants to ask any questions. In the afternoon, I'm actually going to be using this and take you through a light dip through each of the modules. I'm not going to be going in doing secondaries and power, and I'm just going to show you what G2 4, so if anyone has any straight-in questions, they can see what it's all about. And then afterwards, we can play around with them here after we finish it all. So if you want to know any more information about us, we're at whatsgoodstudios.com, and then my name, Chris Blythe, with no H, that's my website, and you can go there to find out more stuff. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Another round of applause for Chris, please. Another one.
One question.
If you have any, work a lot with local media companies, and we consult a lot. And my partner Tilo is at the back there. There's a very smart lady that you talk to there. Also my son Ronan there too. And so if you want to talk to her about any business stuff, she's
another round of applause for Chris. Wait. Guys. A round of applause has energy and happiness. There we go. Thank you very much, Chris. I'll ask you to not go too far away from me.
Questions?
Because it's time.
Oh, it's time.
Again, to award all of you with something special from Highway Audio Visual Solutions. Giving a few notebooks again. Also...
These aren't mine?
Not yours.
Oh.
You need to answer the questions first.
I might get them right.
I hope so. We'll be asking a few questions. We have a pen as well that we'll be giving now.
No, there's no pen. It's gone. No pen.
The pen is still there, rest assured. So a few easy questions. Loosen up, limber. Just stretch your hands. And there we go, forward and up. If you do this, it doesn't count as raise. Again, to help me. Before I even do that, though, remember that keep tweeting. Hashtag is Blackmagic Expo. Blackmagic Design Expo. Blackmagic Design Expo. In fact, Chris, if you'll allow me, there is somebody else right now who is going to receive an award for being our top tweeter for the morning session.
Wow.
Yeah, imagine that. Samira Ali.
Samira.
Please make your way to the stage. And round of applause as she gets here.
Hey! What does she get?
I think she gets the pen. No, we'll do the pen top tweeter for the whole day. I think that'll be one of the pens, but you get a notebook for now. And photo, smile, Samira, for the camera, please.
There we go. I'll do the handover. How about I do the handover? You ready? I'll do this. There you go. Well done.
Great stuff. Thank you. A round of applause as she goes back, please. As she goes back. Right. Very quickly. First question. Based off Chris's presentation. Let me just consult with my... What year was DI? DI stands for Digital...
Oh, look at that. That's more like it.
I like that. I like that.
It was fast, exactly.
They didn't hear the whole question though, so if they get it wrong, what year was DI as a term coined? When was it first used? Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you? No, I'm joking. Nganga. His hand went up first, sorry. I know you guys were quick, but his hand was already up. Can you, don't know where the mic is, just shout out the answer. In the year 2000.
That's correct.
That is correct. Round of applause, please. And come pick up your notebook. Come pick up your notebook. Round of applause if they get here. Come on, guys. Come on. Okay. This might be a tricky one. I hope you are listening. What was the name of the film it was used in?
Oh,
Ooh.
fast at the front there.
Ooh.
No, it was fast.
Ooh. His hand is still up though. Ooh. Okay, give it a shot here. Frederick, you were first.
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother. That's not the full name.
Oh, that's not the
That is
Oh,
not the full
it's,
name.
look.
He's still there. Okay, at the back.
Okay, you're allowed to.
Round of applause. Come to collect your prize. Congratulations. I don't know if this is fair because
I don't know if this is fair.
This is
Hello, young man that I've never met before.
Who probably has not been forced to watch the movie 14 times on each of his birthdays. I don't know.
Twice a day on his birthday.
Great stuff. Okay. How much was the original Resolve?
Oh, that was fast.
Ooh, yeah, it was good.
It was good. Do we have? Can we replay that? Where's slow motion? I need a slow motion replay on that.
VAR.
Yeah. Oh, he wins for artistic contribution.
Okay.
Okay,
You already have a pen though, yeah?
Oh yeah. Okay, so it's got to be the guy outside.
It'll be the gentleman next to him.
And what was the answer?
Ooh, and here we are getting excited.
Oh.
Okay, no, that is incorrect.
Now what was the question?
The question was, how much was the original Resolve? Come get your notebook, please. Come get your notebook. Round of applause for her coming, guys. She lost the phone yesterday, and now she's reading a notebook. We're moving up. It was an...
What? Who needs a phone when you...
And we're going to give her a free one anyway. Lose your phone as well today. Who knows what's going to come?
Here we go.
You know? Okay. Right. We have a few more questions.
I think we should
and
do
then
one more book because we gave it through.
one more book.
Yeah.
One more
I'm going to
book.
steal this from you.
Great.
Yeah. Because of the... Yeah. Do we have one more?
We have several. I'm just trying to choose.
Make it difficult. The hypotenuse of the square root of...
Multiplied by the root
Multiplied
of
by-
the square. Yeah.
yeah.
That's the one. Answer, please. Okay.
What's the question? What's that? Oh, I didn't mention that. Didn't I?
They should have been researching that.
Oh,
Let's see if
okay.
anybody knows.
This is
If
going to be
they-
a tough
If
question.
you do get it, we'll give. If you get the next question, we'll give you 2 notebooks. Because he did not mention it in his presentation.
Well, there is a clue though.
Is there?
The clue. Where does Blackmagic?
Okay, fine. We'll ask it. If you get it right, we'll give. If you need a clue, we'll give you 1.
Oh, that's difficult.
Where is Fairlight originally from?
You can't.
No.
That's my boy. Fantastic.
Okay.
And the prize, he wins, and the prize is this.
Anybody? Where is Fairlight originally from? Fairlight.
Oh.
Well,
No. We'll see.
Clue. Okay, fine. We'll do this since nobody even attempted.
What's this?
If you get the clue right, no, we'll still give them 2 books.
Oh,
We'll
really?
still give them 2 books.
Ah.
It's a day of discounts. Look, so
We're
much
feeling
is going to
generous.
be, this camera will be 30 shillings off. Hashtag #ATM web browser broadcast bundle 15% off. Don't forget about that one. Highway Audiovisual Solutions. So the clue is.
Who's that?
The clue is.
Highway Audio?
The clue is. It is from the same country that Blackmagic design is from.
Whoa! Look at that! In like a shot.
Ooh. Go for it.
Go for it. The man is right. The man is right.
I told you he's going to walk away with the library today. Give him the 2 notebooks. Give him the 2 notebooks. Round of applause, please.
Upside down.
Round of applause, round of applause, round of applause. Thank you.
Oh, this one wasn't mentioned. But they should be. What's the other ones here? What similarities? Oh yeah, what similarities? That'd be a tricky one.
For the pen.
This is a tricky one because There's less Final Cut users here, which is...
How many people use Final Cut?
That one. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's a fair question.
We're limiting it to 4, and we haven't had enough ladies answer as well. Only Lydia has come up. Ladies, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, that's good.
This is to everybody, so not only the Final Cut users, and this is for a pen. The Davinci Resolve that is in front of me, the color panel, right here, mini, in front of me.
Which isn't so mini.
Right.
But it's called the mini.
It's called the mini. There's the micro as well.
A micro for
This is the
$700.
mini. This is the mini.
This is the mini.
How much does the mini go for?
Oh. Hang on. The ladies at the back there, they're all on Facebook. Do you have any answers there? No. Okay. Oh, hang on. Well, it's the same guy. There's a lady right there.
There's a lady? Where's the lady?
I don't have my glasses.
Go, give it a shot. Okay.
500,000 Kenya shillings. No, it's actually cheaper
That is
than
incorrect.
that. Is incorrect.
Oh, hand went down. Okay, this is interesting. More hands have gone up. I know your hand was up.
I hazard at
$1,200
Nope.
is incorrect.
Incorrect.
This gentleman here, we're going to look now. The next time, if we get it wrong,
I said the price.
if we get it wrong, I'm just going to ask everybody to put their hands down and shoot up at the same time, okay? But wait. Is that? Are you sure about that?
That's apparently between that and 3,200. Actually, what?
Be patient. For all of you at home. I'm saying that. You should probably ask Highway Auditor, including tax and all that.
Oh, that's true. Any minute now. Maybe 7.
Nervy moments here.
We've got people waiting. Okay, so it's going to be international. So there's an international price, and
There is
that
an
price
international price.
it's actually going to be a little higher than that. Not much.
No. However,
Mm-hmm.
based off the presentation where you gave the
Oh, right.
figure close,
Well, there we go. That's the
I think
local US price.
if we can give drum rolls while we confirm whether that is the correct answer.
Hey, well done.
Round of applause. Round of applause. International round of applause, guys. This is a whole fancy pen. Let's give it one. Let's give it one.
This wonderful pen.
This is the international price is $2,980. Locally, the price will go up a little bit.
3,100.
Yeah, just about $3,000.
Yeah.
Still,
Still,
or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So prices will go up. The international price, if you got it from somewhere else, would be that $2,999. And Chris obviously mentioned 2,700, which is what you took, and which is why you got the correct answer. Thank you very much, Chris, for that. A round of applause as he leads us. Thank you. Great. I promised that we prizes, and we have many more of those, including some that we'll be getting from Headbox. So as we go for our lunch break, which will be in about 10 or 15 minutes, please do interact with them, see what's on offer. If you buy something and come with a receipt, it's an automatic pen, I'll tell you that right now. So buy something and come with a receipt, no, I'm not forcing that on you. Look at it, interact with them, interact with Highway Audiovisual Solutions, because a t-shirt, We'll be going for a lunch break very soon, but before that, we have spoken extensively about payment and daunting for us. 200,000 shillings or $2,000 on the spot. Someone may not be able to do that. Equity Bank is here to help us buy some of this equipment, offering payment plans that can be paid in installments of 6, even up to 12 months. So what I'm going to do right now is call a member from Equity Bank. I don't know if they can see us, they're situated outside. Is John Gadima ready? John, yes, I see him warming and stretching up, approaching the runway. John is a credit administrator at Equity Bank, and please give him a round of applause because this man is a man who's going to make sure that we can afford some of this equipment. Round of applause as he gets here, please. Just for a quick minute. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am from Equity Bank, and it is true. At Equity, we have different products. Some of them are for others are basically accounts that you can use to save. If you have a target, for example, you want to buy a certain machine, you can be able to accumulate your maybe salary, or if you earn from the business, you can be able to build that and buy the machine that you need. We are based outside there. If you have any question, you can come and talk to us. Thank you.
Round of applause, please. Round of applause, round of applause, round of applause. For a notebook, where are they based? Where are they based? Where are they based? Where are they based? Where are they? Where are they? Must stay. Fantastic. We have about 12 minutes or so before we reach 1 o'clock, and what we will do now is have a quick break where we'll go for lunch, reconvene here at about 2 o'clock. When we come back, we're including a bit of a demo or tutorial of some of this equipment and software. You can see this is already on. We'll try and get that to work. We'll also have Ur, who is there, right there. He'll come back. And then we'll have a panel